Hello and welcome to the League One lowdown brought to you by the Debt Network. Of course, it's the preview show with me, Callum. As always, we're back to usual, your regularly scheduled programming. I'm joined by Sam after I missed a week last week, so I'm sorry about that. You had to put up with Seb. Oh dear.
Yeah, he was fine. He probably did quite well on the predictions as well. Much better than yours truly, I must add.
But to be fair, I'm me.
Well, I think we'll get straight into that because
Yeah.
we're going to gloss over this extremely quickly this week because it was appalling. You got 7 points. I got 4, 3 even.
Oh dear.
Three, one
You got
correct
3
score.
points. That's poor.
One correct score. 11 games. I got one correct score.
Mm.
No correct outcomes. It's a pretty calamitous week, I must say.
Predictions should not be our thing at all, should
No.
they? If you want to see our predictions, head over to to our TikTok page and the Deck Clips page as well. That's where we'll post them on Saturday morning. Mine and Sam's predictions. That's where you'll see them. Make sure you drop us a follow over on TikTok as well at League One Lowdown. We're posting plenty of great content over there. Loving seeing a lot of people engaging with it. Apparently, a lot of Stevenage fans as well today. They took being top of the league quite nicely. I think it's fair to say.
Stevenage have fans?
Stevenage have fans, and all of them very happy to be top of the table. We'll dive into some of this weekend's games a little bit later on in the episode. But as we're recording this on a Wednesday evening, it'll be 2 days ago once you're listening to this on Thursday. Maybe even you're listening to it on Friday, whatever it is you're doing. Thank you for listening. Stevenage sit top of the league. Now, we all kind of thought, dare I predict things, the Stevenage were maybe done. We thought they were maybe done. They hadn't won in 4 games, 2 draws in that time. We thought, okay, maybe that's it. Maybe they'll peter out like we're predicting a lot of the teams that are around the top to do this year. No, they haven't. They have won. They beat Peterborough United 1-0 in a midweek match, one of only 2 games. And the big question is, Sam, can Stevenage keep it up? I suppose no team is able to keep it up at the minute, given the appalling record of the top 4 at the minute. I mean, when you look at the top 4, there's only 5 wins in the last 20 combined games for them, which is not what you'd imagine from the table toppers, my team Lincoln included. I suppose, is it a case of can they keep up, or will anyone else beat them?
I think it's going to all come down to one thing for Stevenage, and that's keeping their core 11 fit. While they probably have 2 or 3 players that can step in, the 11 is a very physical, strong, dynamic 11. He seemed to change it on Tuesday night where he played Hadmay and Jamie Reid together as well, which against a Peterborough side who do struggle against physical sides, they handled it a lot better than they have recently. But you put 2 big burly strikers along, and then you have Charlie Good, Freestone, and Sweeney. You're going to be a very difficult side to play against, especially when you play second balls as well, and you're going to have the extra man in midfield. But can they keep it up for the full season is a very good question. I still think squads with more quality will pull through. And when we've got 9, I think we've got 9 games between now and 2026, which is a lot of football. I think in all competitions, that is not just League One. So it'll be interesting to see if they're still there by the 31st of December. The games obviously slow down a bit, so I think they have a much better opportunity. I just think through the Christmas period where squads are stretched, and it's not just a physical battle, it's a mental battle. Can they get through it? And it comes down to moments in games. And do Stevenage have enough game changers in their squad? I'm not so sure. They are heavily relying on set pieces, as we know. I think they've got to play Cardiff and Stockport in December. So I think we're going to get quite a big indicator of where Stevenage sort of stand. But having said that, Stockport obviously lost their last 2 as well. So it's a good
fascinating league, isn't it? It's a fascinating league, and it does feel like the year where your traditional, I don't want to say second tier sides, obviously in terms of budgets, the likes of a Stevenage, a Bradford, I'll even put, Lincoln City, Wimbledon. I know they've hit a bit of rocky form, but they're still way up there. It feels like one of those 4 teams will probably sneak an automatic promotion place. No one is doing as we've seen in previous years, a Portsmouth or a Plymouth in years gone by, or a Birmingham or Wrexham from last year. It feels like no one's doing that.
I think Stevenage have in their hand is they don't lose games by 2 goals. Near enough every game they've lost this season, bar the EFL Cup, they've lost by a single goal as well. So they're always in football matches. I still think while we predicted Cardiff to fall away, they're in and around there, aren't they? And I think the problem Stevenage do have this season is the league is so competitive. And like you said, there's no runaway team like we've had previously. If you think about it the way I'm going to speak of it here, there's 14 points separating 22nd or 23rd place Plymouth
23rd all the way to
and
the top,
top of the league. It's a 5-game swing. And I'm going to use my team because it's the easiest comparison I can give. November or 21st. By the time we got to January, I think they were 8th, and there was near enough a 15-point swing. December is such a big month for near enough every football club that has ambitions of doing something this year. And we could even use Plymouth as an example of this. You get a big win in your last league game. Maybe you win 2 of your next 3. Then you're looking into middle of December. You win another 2 of your next 3. And before you know it, you're in mid-table and 4 points off the playoffs. So I think we've got a league that is going to be so topsy-turvy this year. Like we've spoke about Wimbledon as well, haven't we, in terms of how good we're impressed with they've been. They've lost their last 3, 1 win in 5, and now they're probably looking over their shoulder a little bit. I know they're still what's 9 points clear of the drop, but as we said, December's going to be huge.
Mental. And then the interesting thing, the other game we should touch on from last night. Again, this one snuck up on us, considering how critical we've been of Huddersfield Town this year. They could have gone up to second if results had gone their way and if they'd have won. They did lose in the end to Luton 2-1. Yates with the winner in the end. That puts Luton, again, just 1 point outside the playoffs on a minus goal difference. Again, I feel like we can say Jack Wilshere's turned the ship around, and he has to an extent. But that's their first win in 3. And again, it's not playoff contending form. Is it? Like, do you know what I mean? Things are changing all the time.
I also think it was his first home win as well, league home win. And I still don't think he knows his best team yet, which is fair enough. I do like the way the news now covers them as Jack Wilshere's Luton Town. That does get on my nerves. I'm not going to lie. It's Luton Town. It's not Jack Wilshere's Luton Town. We don't call it Lee Grant's Huddersfield Town, do we? It's just Huddersfield Town. That gets on my nerves.
It's because Lee Grant wasn't a failed wonder kid or whatever, was he? He was just Man United's reserve goalkeeper for a few years.
I think the big thing to come out of this game for Luton was that Jerry Yates scored. I think that will do his confidence a world of good. It's only his second League One goal of the season, and we know from his time at Blackpool, he is a prolific League One goal scorer if he gets going. So I think that'll do his confidence a world of good. And if you're going to fight in the top 6, you're going to need a striker that's going to get you 15 to 20 goals probably between now and the end of the season. For Huddersfield...
go on. Yeah, I mentioned Huddersfield. They could have gone second,
Yeah. And a team that before yesterday's game had lost 6 games. Like a team that had lost 6 games going top of the second in the league after 16, 17 games is like unheard of. And they've got the same record as AFC Wimbledon now, just a better goal difference keeps them above them. And I still think, regardless of how many point difference there is between them and the top 2, there's probably always going to be pressure on Lee Grant, just purely because they can't grind out football matches. And they just don't know how to grind out a game. Like, you look at last night, Castledine scored a lovely free kick, question marks, I think, over the goalkeeping, personally. So if you're going to be a top 6 side, you've got to draw games when you don't play well. And Huddersfield don't seem to be able to do that. They don't seem to be able to grind out a result. And it's the same for Luton. Neither team seems to be grind out a result when they don't play well. They either win or they lose. And I'll use a team like Bradford, for example, who are 3rd. They've drawn 7 games. They've not been playing well for about a month. They've not won since the 29th of September. But they're not losing football matches, and it's fine margins that way. And fine margins can be worked on. The same as Bolton. They've drawn 6. They're not losing football matches. And when you're winning and drawing, it obviously builds momentum and confidence. When you win, lose, your team's being chopped and changed constantly, and it just doesn't seem to build any sort of fluidity, confidence, or momentum.
And as for Huddersfield Town, no team in the top 15 has conceded as many goals for them. But again, they are only 5 points off top. And if you'd have, it's the amazing thing about League One. If you say you're 5 points off top, but you're in third place, Huddersfield Town fans can sleep easy at night. As it is, they're very restless and again, murmurings. Do you know what I mean? 2 wins in the last 5, which means 3 defeats in the last 5. It's that inability to, as you say, grind out results, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And they've got a big game against Wimbledon this weekend, at home especially. They also, for all their plethora of attacking quality, they have nobody that scored more than 3 league goals as well, which I don't think helps. I still think he's trying to play players in just to shoehorn them in a team, which we were critical of previous managers to do. Just pick your best players in your best position. Like, stop playing Alfie May out wide. Crying out loud. One of the best poachers League One has had in the past 3 years. Maybe tweak your system. Play Alfie May and Joe Taylor together. See how that goes. Play 4-4-2, which seems to be out of possession. Something that's come back into sort of the fold this year. But teams still don't really like to play it in build-up.
No. You mentioned how important the December period will be for certain teams. That means that we are only literally 1 month away from the January transfer window. It's almost like we've all forgotten about that. I feel like I had. But January transfer window is just around the corner. Talking about it, because Derek Adams has come out and said that Plymouth Argyle will strengthen in January. Now, I'd be surprised if he came out and said Plymouth Argyle will weaken in January. But I mean, I get his point. But the thing is, every team is going to be after the same sort of thing at this point. I imagine either players who have long throws will be very much in demand, or tall players who know how to head a ball will be in demand. And if you've got one of them on your hands and fancy making a bit of cash, good for you. If you don't, then if you end the window without one of them, you're going to be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I think the one thing that Plymouth need to get in January is athletic wide players. At the moment, they're playing Owen Dale and...
So the opposite of what I just described.
Yes. For Plymouth, it's the complete opposite. But for certain clubs, yes, I totally agree with you. I just think Plymouth need athleticism, maybe a bit more youth in their side. They've got one of the best strikers who we're going to touch on a bit later in League One. But if you add a bit of athleticism to the side, a bit of swagger is the word I use. I'm going to use him because he's the best player, I think, at the moment in League One. He's Cozy Dewberry. He's got that bit of swagger around him. And you kind of need that at this level, I think. And I think a lot of the players have obviously come down with them, and there's that fear factor in them, I think, a little bit still. Defensively, they are still a bit of a mess, quite frankly. So I wouldn't be surprised if they bought probably 2 wing backs, a right and a left side, because I know Ballymumba can play there, but they've pushed him a bit further forward recently, and then maybe another right-sided centre-back, because Alex Mitchell's probably been one of their standout players this year, and I know they've conceded 28 goals, but which is the second worst in the league.
Who's the worst, Sam?
No comment.
It's Leyton Orient, isn't it? There you go.
It is, yes. So I think, 2 wing backs, a right-sided centre-half, and I think Plymouth might be okay. Not to compete at the top, but just to try and get into sort of the lower mid-table region and survive. Yeah. And it will be interesting to see how much they back Tom Cleverley as well. And I think we'll get an indicator of how much sort of they trust Tom Cleverley. And the important question is, will he even still be there in January? Because if you look at
this is the interesting thing. This is the interesting thing, because everyone thought when Derek Adams came in that it was literally a week or so's countdown till he's out of the club. Yeah. But he's still there. They picked up a win last time out. It's maybe they made the right choice by sticking with him. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but
they've got 9 games before January the 4th of Plymouth. Yeah, and only one of them is a cup game, which is next Tuesday. So, but they've got to play Wycombe twice, Doncaster, Bradford, Northampton, and Reading. So, good luck.
Not
is
the
all
easiest.
I say. No.
You mentioned goal scorers and ones that we'll touch on. It is worth reflecting on the top goal scorer chart, something that you don't tend to do at the start of the season. But I think we're at the point where we can kind of guess who the front runners are going to be for the League One Golden Boot. Davis Keillor-Dunn, who I'm pretty sure when he signed for Barnsley was a central attacking mid. He now seems to be their only goal scoring option. He's got 8 goals, none of which were from the spot. Laurent Tolaj equal on 8. We could see that coming from a mile away that he's going to now be one of the front runners. Mason Burstow, who's kind of put his foot off the gas recently, slipped down to 3rd. Aaron Connolly also on 7 goals, as was Mason Burstow, I should say. And a whole host of players on 6 goals, including Koji Dubry, Don Ballard, Carl Wootton, Sam Bell, Bobby Poynton and Yusuf Salach. Interesting point about Yusuf Salach that we were talking about before. I think he's missed the most chances, hasn't he, or XG compared to actual goals. He is the worst conversion, so perhaps either a very wasteful striker for Cardiff or one that's just waiting to get the right chances and they're still waiting to find the best out of him. I think it's going to be interesting at this early stage. Who do you back to get the Golden Boot?
I'm going to back my own player. I'm going to back Connolly. If he stays fit, I think it's only a matter of time. Like, he has the most shots per 90 in League One with 4 shots per 90. And I think there's only a matter of time before he scores 2. If he scores 2 in one game, he'll go and get 2 in a couple more. And I think with a consistent, like the game's thick and fast, I think that suits a player like that. Where at the moment, it's obviously they play the league game. Oh, there's a EFL Trophy game out. The team you come on for 10 minutes. Then you've got an FA Cup game. Oh, do we play him in that? And bit difficult to just sort of build that momentum, but this game's thick and fast after that. So I'm going to back our man to get top goal scorer.
I struggle to look past Tolaj or Keillor-Dunn, to be honest, because they're both the main men in their systems, aren't they? You take Tolaj out of Plymouth and you struggle to see where the goals are. Likewise for Barnsley, given what we expect Plymouth to do and an uptick in form that we potentially expect from them, I'm going to go for Tolaj as my Golden Boot, just mainly because whenever I look at on a Saturday and I'm watching Final Score, it just always seem to see his name. So that's my prediction.
He's also missed the joint second most big chances as Tolaj as well with 11.
So if you can just tuck a few more of them away, he will be laughing in goal scoring bonuses, I think is the way he'd be cashing in a few checks. But it is an interesting week in League One. A couple of standout fixtures that we will get to. The 2 early kickoffs will start with Stockport County against Barnsley. This one, a 12:30 kickoff. Sam, Stockport County, they'll be wanting to get back to, wanting to continue that form that we'd associated with them. We thought they were going to be pretty plain sailing, but back-to-back 3-0 defeats, one at home, one away, is going to be very worrying for them.
Yeah, I think they've obviously had to change their system around a little bit as well with injuries to key defenders. So I think their defence is a bit all over the place at the moment, which is probably why they've conceded 6 goals in the last 2, which is not something we associate with Stockport at all, is it really? We kind of associate them being a pretty solid defensively side and very potent going forward. I think the most alarming thing for them is they actually haven't scored in the last 2 as well. So they've actually had 3 3-0s in a row because they won the one previous to that 3-0 as well. But they have a goal scorer in Carl Wootton. I think the biggest criticism that I've seen from Stockport fans this year is Owen Moxon and the form of him. They've been very disappointed with him. And if you are a Stockport County fan, do let us know in the comments who's been your most disappointing player, because I have seen a lot calling out Owen Moxon. So we would be interested to know. Obviously, we try to watch as many League One games as we can, but unfortunately, we all have to do other work as well, and not just watch League One football all day. So it would be interesting to see. And obviously, I want to know why Corey Adai is not in goal again, because he was in goal last year. Then it's kind of the similar situation to last year. Was in at the start, then came out. Hinchcliffe played, and then towards the end of the season, Adai went back in goal. So why has Corey Adai been dropped again? Is it just because he's out of form? Is it because he's injured? I would quite like to know, to be honest. But I think we have to give props to Barnsley at the moment. I said to Seb last week that Barnsley are one of the lowest expected point side, forgetting that they'd actually have games in hand.
Yeah.
Because they've got 2 games in hand near enough over every team in the league.
They've got 3 in hand on some, yeah.
And technically, if they win both of them, they're top. Because their goal difference will be improved.
Superior, yeah.
So they'll actually be top of the league if they win both their games.
Again, right, we laughed at Seb for where he put Barnsley in his predictions. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, they have won back-to-back games, but then they have only won 2 of the last 5. So again, but I've never known it in League One that every team has mid-table form. It is truly remarkable, really, to be honest. But yeah. I mean, we have to give props to them. I mean, 5-0 against Luton. That was, was as far as statement results in League One go is up there this year. But can we see them kicking on? I don't know. I feel like this is the type of game where they crash back down to earth because League One is that inconsistent.
Yeah, it is. And I think the one thing that's impressed me, though, with Barnsley is even without Adam Phillips and Russell, who were so instrumental for them last year, they haven't been playing recently. And they didn't play in their 5-0 win against Luton. They didn't start anyway. I think that's the most impressive thing I can give Barnsley this year. And they seem to they at least have a style of play this year to Barnsley. They're extremely good on the counter-attack. I think we were critical when they were under Darryl Clark in terms of a style of play. I think Hourihane knows, obviously he played with half these players, so he knows sort of what their attributes are, and they've got a style of play, and it's working fruitfully for them. I think away from home, though, is going to be tough for them, isn't it? Stockport are pretty dandy at home, 4 wins, 2 draws and 2 defeats, where if we go to Barnsley's away form, it's 3 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats, so...
Well, as I mentioned, with the predictions, if you want to head over to TikTok and the Deck Shorts channel, then you'll see what we predict and know that we aren't just making these scores up for our predictions league as we go along. The other lunchtime kickoff is Blackpool against Reading. Blackpool, who still find themselves in the relegation zone. That uptick in form under Ian Evatt after back-to-back wins has now slipped to a defeat to Burton Albion and a draw last time out against Leyton Orient. As for Reading, they found themselves unbeaten in the last 4, 2 of which were 1-0 wins against, first of all, Northampton and second of all, Stevenage. Reading feel like they're turning into that resolute side that are able to grind out goals, like games with a very small amount of goals in. So this has got kind of a 1-1, 1-0 written all over it, hasn't it? Especially with it being the early kickoffs, which either end up having many goals in or none at all.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you've just said there. I think, obviously, I watched Blackpool last week. They weren't brilliant, but I was talking to a couple of Blackpool fans on the bus back to the station. Injuries have really hampered them going forward. Niall Ennis is obviously the key one missing. So I think Ian Evatt's still trying to work out different combinations and stuff like that. He was playing here Heckway at right back as well, which I don't think is a natural position for a centre-half who can't really run. So I still think he's trying to work out his best team. And obviously you do get that initial manager bounce, like when someone like Ian Evatt, a club legend, comes in, there's obviously going to be that uptick in form because there is a lot of quality in that Blackpool squad. But injuries have massively hampered them, especially going forward. But again, with what you said with Reading, they're looking like a very difficult team to beat. It's just going similar to Blackpool, going forward, they're not looking as free-flowing as you'd expect. The midfielders are like Savage scored a wonderful goal last week. And they seem to be bailing out by these individual moments of brilliance that are sort of picking them up points at the moment.
But what I would say is, if you're a team down at the bottom, you'd rather be drawing games than losing them.
Exactly.
So 100% being defensively resolute, probably the way to go for Reading, with especially how leaky they had been from goals towards the start of the season. Coming on to the 3 p.m. kickoffs then, Wigan Athletic welcome the table toppers Stevenage. Wigan Athletic quietly picking up some form in recent games. 4 unbeaten, a win last time out against deflated Wimbledon is probably the way of describing them. Wigan Athletic actually come into this one as the form side, which is weird to say, given their, given one of them's the table toppers and the other one's 15th in the table. Again, like we cannot emphasise how abnormal this year is in League One. And you go into this match and you think, well, Wigan have actually got a fairly decent chance here.
Yeah, and it was only last week that I asked Seb the question of, is Ryan Lowe under pressure? And now
No is the answer.
Yeah, not now, no. And I think for Wigan, it was probably going to be. They seem to have sorted defensively out, especially, haven't they? Like they've won 1-0, 1-1, 1-1, 2-1. So the goal conceding that we were highly critical of has dried up, which is good for them. But Stevenage, as we know, I don't know if playing on a Tuesday benefits you or not. To be honest, it's obviously match sharpness is a big thing.
Yeah.
But it's not like Wigan have had 2 weeks off. It's like they played last week, so they're probably going to be a bit more fresh. And obviously, it's a long old trip up to Wigan as well from Stevenage. So, and the pitch at Wigan is one of the worst, I think, in League One. It's probably what Burton has probably got the only worst pitch I can think of off the top of my head.
Burton have got a great pitch. I don't know what you're on about. Never been critical of that at all.
And speaking of Burton, while we're on the topic of we've got an interview with Gary Bowyer on the YouTube channel coming soon, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the Gary Bowyer exclusive interview, which you, funnily enough, did, Callum.
I did, yeah. It was a great chat, 100%. Make sure you watch that when it comes out next week.
Yep, so make sure you subscribe for that. Anyway, back onto Wigan. This is a big opportunity for them to make the number in the table look a lot stronger, because when you speak to people, they just look at the number on the left-hand side of the table, and that says 15th. If they win, they could be 10th. They could be 10th, and that looks a lot healthier, 11th, doesn't it? And I think sometimes people forget, when we talk about managers that are under pressure, we forget to look at the right-hand column for points. We just look on the left at league position. It's like, oh, why are Wigan in 15th place? And Wigan should never be in 15th. But then if you look at the points, we're talking they're 6 points off the playoffs, and it's a 2-game swing. So it's important that Wigan do win at home. Home form is important. As if you're going to do anything successful, your home form is to be key of everything. And they've won 4 of their 7 home games. So, we'll see with that. But Stevenage are very good away. 3rd best league side away from home. 4 wins and 3 defeats. So.
One of the teams that kind of was the form team seems to be showing a few signs of slowing down is Rotherham United. They face the team directly above them. Again, we seem to be getting a few of these. The epitome of a mid-table clash as Wycombe Wanderers visit Rotherham. 2 sides that have shown remarkable improvements recently compared to the start of the season. Either that carries on in a draw, or one of those records has got to give. And I couldn't really, and because I don't have to tell you my predictions until Saturday, I'm not sure which one it is that's going to give.
I think there was a stat at the weekend that Michael Duff has had the best start of any Wycombe manager in EFL history, which just epitomises what he's done for that football club. He's gone in, he's looked at the players he's got and gone, right, you are my sort of 18 that I'm just going to play. And it's worked wonders for him. And he has, I've said this so many times, he's taken the players out that sort of came in over the summer for big money from big clubs. And he's just gone back to players that seem to want to represent Wycombe Football Club and know what it means to represent, stadium-wise, one of the smaller, I use it in inverted commas, smaller clubs in League One. Obviously, Wycombe have been in the Championship recently, but it's not just about having all your quality on the ball. Wycombe fans want a team that works hard, is organised, and ultimately, like every fan, wins football matches. But the first thing they want to see is a team that works hard for each other. And they've got that now. So Michael Duff has implemented that sort of steeliness back into a Wycombe side, which were renowned for that under Gareth Ainsworth. And to be fair to Matt Hamshaw, Rotherham have massively improved. With all the injuries they have, I saw Jordan Hugill played with near enough a foot that had been mullered last week, which is sort of epitomises the sort of camaraderie that's around Rotherham at the moment. And if you're going to get out of the trouble Rotherham win, you need players all pulling together, and they have done that. While they haven't looked, I wouldn't say special, other than that Lincoln performance, where they beat you 3-0.
Thank
They're
you.
pretty. You're welcome.
Thank you for
They're pretty. They're
It
a
was
difficult
3-2.
team.
3-2.
3-2.
Oh, are you on about Rotherham or
Rotherham,
Wycombe?
yeah.
Well, yeah, they might have beaten us 3-0.
Yeah.
But we don't need to reference that, do we? We can skip over that.
I think the good thing for Rotherham is they've got a midfielder in Joe Powell, who's one of the best playmakers in the league. And then they've got the experience of Reece James and Joe Rafferty in defence. Well, albeit they've only got one fit centre-back who's, 19 years old, having two experienced heads next to you makes a massive difference.
100%. 100%. Next up to the East Coast mainline derby between Doncaster Rovers and Peterborough United, as I'm going to call it now. And this could be huge, to be fair, for both teams. A win for Peterborough, who, despite that 1-0 defeat to Stevenage in midweek, are actually in relatively decent form under new management. Doncaster Rovers could end this week, in the relegation zone, and we were saying they were playoff challengers not that long ago. One, again, take a shot for every time I say this. Shows how insane League One is this year. But the scale of the fall off from Doncaster Rovers. Sorry, Jamie, but you're a bit bad.
Yeah, they've not won a league game since the 6th of September, which was the 3-1 victory against Bradford. Since then, they've only won in the EFL Trophy and the FA Cup. And I think the big problem they've got is scoring goals. And I think it was a good point away at Stevenage. That's a good point. But this is their bread and butter. Home games against teams around them in the table. If they're going to survive this year, they need to win because they've got, after this Peterborough game, they've got Stockport County and Cardiff.
Difficult.
Before a home game against Plymouth. So they've got 2 of their next 4 league games are pretty big for them. And draws won't be good enough in them 2 home games either. They need to win both of them. But only 15 league goals is the second lowest in League One. Only bottom of the table, Port Vale, have the less. But what I will say for Port Vale, at least, is... Well, to be fair to Doncaster as well, Doncaster have scored average XG is 22.2. They've scored 7.2 less, and it's the same for Port Vale. They've created 22.7, have scored 11 less. So the 2 sides that have got above 5 in terms of their deficit, in terms of goals. So it's clear to see. It seems the managers are pretty well coaching their teams to create chances. But unless Grant McCann signs a professional contract, he can't head the ball in the goal. So
that's why XG is one of the best and one of the worst stats ever, because XG tells you what could have happened, not what has happened. You mentioned one of the teams in danger. They could technically end the weekend outside of the relegation zone, although doubt that's going to happen because they're up against the mighty Lincoln City, who are imperious at the moment, imperiously inconsistent. It would appear 1 win in the last 5, defeat last time out to Wycombe Wanderers. It was a real performance of 2 halves. And I'm going to say this because I don't want to put pressure on him already, but it's all on Jack Moylan, if I'm honest. This guy when we tell you he is the Irish Messi, he is ridiculous. He came on in the second half against Wycombe Wanderers and we looked like a completely different team. Who'd have thought that playing a number 10 in the number 10 role instead of, I don't know, a striker a little bit deeper helps? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's worked for Lincoln City before playing a 4-striker system almost. But Jack Moylan just gives you something different. He gives you that rogueness. He gives you that bit of edge that Lincoln have been needing, albeit it was a little bit too late against Wycombe Wanderers last weekend. But if Lincoln City can be that little bit more clinical against a Port Vale side that like to concede goals and can't score many of them themselves, you back Lincoln City here to get back to winning ways. And again, weird, could end the day at the top of the league. It's so weird.
It's mental, isn't it?
So weird.
I think the bad thing is Port Vale is they're just conceding stupid goals as well.
Lincoln score stupid goals.
And Lincoln are very effective at what they do. I think that's fair to say. And Port Vale,
when they lose matches, yes.
Even when they lose matches. But Port Vale are coached extremely well, but I have seen a lot of disgruntledness with Darren Moore But it's not Darren Moore's fault your strikers can't put the ball in the goal. To be honest, like
I blame Plymouth Argyle for that.
I'm going to blame Plymouth as well. Let's blame Pieface. We did the other week. So let's blame him.
To be fair, Plymouth did sign their best striker, so at least we have got a reason to blame. We have got a reason to blame Plymouth this time.
Yeah.
That's the title done. Let's all just blame Plymouth.
I do wonder if Port Vale had Tolaj, where they would be. I know Devante Cole's got 4 goals.
Out the relegation zone, 100%.
But Devante Cole's not scored for, what is it now? He's got 2 in a FA Cup game, but he's not scored in a league goal since the 11th of October in a 1-1 draw against Wimbledon. So there was a heavy reliance on him.
If you give them 8 more goals, they'll have a better record than Burton Albion and a better record than on the same record as Rotherham, who are in mid-table. That's, in terms of goals scored and goals conceded, they'll have about the same as Burton and Rotherham, who are in mid-table. Yeah. So that's the cost of Tolash. Okay, it's lines the transfer kitty and the bank balance a little bit, and God knows clubs at League One need that. Not all clubs have got an unlimited bank balance, but again, needed. Those goals will cost you in the end.
I think it was the fact they didn't reinvest it as well. Like I know they got Devante Cole, but it was clear and obvious that they needed another one. Very clear. And I remember there was a comment, I think it was on our pre-season predictions, who mentioned all the Port Vale strikers and how good they were. And then Tolaj sodded off. And now look, they're bottom of the league, lowest scorer in the league. So.
Again, predictions will be available on the TikTok and on the Deck Shorts channel. Let's hoover through the rest of the games, starting with Cardiff City, Mansfield Town. Mansfield Town safely in mid-table, although back-to-back defeats for them. Cardiff City, again, could go top. They sit in 2nd place with the best goal difference of any team in the division. How do you see this one going, Sam?
Cardiff at home should win. That's the be all and end all of that one.
I think Mansfield, then that's one sorted. Let's move on to the next game.
I think Mansfield they're having their down period again. They're very up and down, aren't they? Mansfield, they're like a roller coaster.
There's like certain things that are guaranteed in December, isn't it? Christmas advent calendars and Mansfield Town's form jumping off a cliff,
and Lincoln's form. Yeah, got it in there. But for Cardiff, it's important that they start going on another winning run. Obviously, they've had 2 defeats in their last 3, so at home they need, no offence to Mansfield, they need to be beating teams like Mansfield Town if they want to be in the top 2.
What are you trying to say about Mansfield Town, Sam?
Smaller club than Cardiff.
I agree. Luton Town. Luton Town against Bolton Wanderers. We'll attach the fallen Giants derby to this one. Both ex-Premier League, obviously. Where do we see this one going? Luton Town will be eager to recapitulate that form they did last time out, but continue that growth under Jack Wilshere.
Yeah, 100%. And again, Luton being at home, it's another opportunity for them to build a bit more momentum. Bolton, though, are a different sort of animal at the moment, aren't they? And I think unlike Lincoln, Bolton have match winners in their team. It could be from any number.
You're literally 16th in the table. What do you mean, unlike Lincoln, they have match winners?
Oh, did I sound like unlike Luton? I meant
you said unlike Lincoln, they have match winners. I was like, how am I catching strays when we're not even talking about Lincoln City?
Unlike Luton, I'd say. I think Bolton have more match winners, and I think this game's just going to come down to a moment of brilliance. Yeah, to be honest.
Be a very interesting one. Again, this one will probably interest the neutrals the most.
Yes.
Bradford City against Exeter City. Obviously, Exeter not played in a couple of weeks due to that fire at St James's Park, which again looks like it's caused a lot of damage. Hopefully, won't impact many more of their home games. But this one, they are travelling to Bradford City, so should go ahead. Bradford, who are in... Well, I'll put it this way. Bradford, who have the same form as Port Vale, face Exeter City. We've just been absolutely scarring of Port Vale. Yet Bradford have avoided all of that criticism because they say, oh, no, sorry, they've drawn. Sorry, I take that all back. I'm colourblind, apparently. But they've got 4 points in the last 5 games. They are in dreadful form. They are in relegation form, are Bradford at the minute.
Haven't won a league game for 2 months. 27th of September was the last time they won a league game. 1-0
They're in
against Blackpool.
Doncaster Rovers form,
Yeah.
yet somehow they are third in the table. Make it make sense.
The difference there is Bradford know how to draw a football match and can grind out a result, where Doncaster can't. That's the difference. And a good point for Bradford against Bolton last time out as well. That sort of improved the mood. But no offence to Exeter, this should be a Bradford victory. Not playing for 2 weeks, so it's going to take a little bit of time to sort of get that sharpness back. So I think Bradford for that one.
Well, Exeter, they need a win, else you'll see them. I think they'll probably slip into the drop zone this weekend. Plymouth Argyle against Northampton Town. Northampton Town, who will be absolutely devastated that they're only 4 points above the drop zone as compared to the usual 5, is heartbreaking for them. They play Plymouth Argyle. They go to Plymouth Argyle. Again, Plymouth Argyle, we spoke about them earlier, so probably best to focus on Northampton Town. Are they just that team in League One?
Quite possibly. Yeah, they don't lose by many, do they? They only the Cardiff game where,
they don't
to be
lose
fair,
by
they went
many.
for it.
They don't win by many, and they don't draw games. So
I still think there's going to be a time in the season where Northampton will drop into the bottom 4. I cannot see for the life of me Peterborough, Blackpool, and Plymouth still being down there come March. I just can't see it. And then you're looking for 3 teams to drop into it. You're obviously going to look at teams that can't score goals. While they can defend and they're very good at it, I can't see Reading being down there. And then you're probably picking, if you're picking 3, you're picking Exeter, Doncaster, and Northampton.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Well, we'll see, because Northampton Town, no matter what they do, they're always 4 or 5 points above the drop. Huddersfield Town against Wimbledon. One of these sides could end the day in the playoff places in the top 6. The other one could find themselves swallowed up by the chasing pack. It really is that tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where do you see this one going?
Huddersfield are quite decent at home, to be honest. 5 wins from their 8 home games, and Wimbledon are kind of in a little bit of limbo, aren't they, at the moment? 3 league defeats in a row.
Need something, don't they?
Need something. They've only won an EFL trophy game in their last sort of 5. The one only thing I think for Wimbledon is they've only scored 1 league goal in their last 4 as well. So the goals have dried up as well. And I think it sounds horrible, but it was a matter of time before something like that did happen. But I think they're good starters, given them a chance of staying up. But I would be... There will be a lot of pressure on Lee Grant if they don't win. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Going to be an interesting match. Again, it just comes down to the reputation that both teams have, isn't it? I think, really. And the final match, Burton Albion against Leyton Orient. Thanks to the interview we did with Gary Bowyer, a huge thank you for his time. It was great to chat with him, and that makes me have a slightly more favourable opinion of Burton Albion than of Leyton Orient. Sorry, Sam, if I could do this preview show with Gary Bowyer. I think one of us might find ourselves out of a job. But Burton Albion have shocked us all, really, haven't they? And it's only taken 3 wins in 4 to do it.
Yeah, they look a lot better, don't they, this year? And you think they've not replaced the direct replacement for Burrell and Bodvarsson. Beasley has one of the best expected goals in the league. And I always say for strikers, as long as you're creating them chances, eventually at this level, they will score you the goals that is needed. I'd be more worried for Burton if they weren't creating chances. But the fact they're creating chances is a massive positive. And their record against Orient is pretty good too. In the 4 previous meetings in League One, they've won 2 and drawn 2. At their place, they won 2-1 in April, and there was a 0-0 draw in 2023. And to be honest, the other 2 games at Orient's place were a 0-0 draw and a 2-1 win for Burton. So this is either be 0-0 or 2-1. I'm still up in the air about it, especially with Orient's away form. It's the 22nd best. 2 wins, 6 defeats, 20 goals conceded away from home in 8 games, and the 10 scored. I mean, you get value for money when you go watch Orient away from home, I tell you that.
It probably is worth mentioning, we won't dwell on it too long, but Bradley Collins in goal. 80% save percentage, 6.7 goals per prevented, which is 2 more than anybody else in the league, and 3.6 saves per 90, which is the top of anyone in the league. He has been, I think the phrase is different gravy, or with it being Burton, a pint of Heineken instead of a pint of Carlin.
He's also kept 5 clean sheets in 10 games as well.
It's not a bad record at all.
No.
Well, that is it for the preview show. 7 Jamie, I believe, are on review duty as always this weekend. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that. Like this video, of course, because I'm sure you did like it. And stay tuned for next week's episode with the Burton boss, Gary Bowyer. Really looking forward for you to hear that chat. We've already recorded it. It was a great chat, really insightful from a man that's got a lot more history in the game than I think a lot of people give him credit for. So make sure you subscribe and listen to that, especially Burton Albion fans. And we'll see you in another episode very, very soon.